Welcome back, friends and neighbors. It's Thursday night. This is going to be a little bit different because we have some different things to talk about, as though this were a Friday episode where we're going to get ready for game day, because the most pinnacle part of the offseason is coming at you right now. Next, we're going to get into it. I'm going to have an announcement here about Chief in the North in general. Not quite the same tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun, though, and we will get to your questions. Welcome to RGR Football. I wonder if that slowed down for everybody else. The intro was not quite normal tonight. Nothing is quite normal tonight, unfortunately. We had a last-minute cancellation. Seth is stuck in court and is not going to make it tonight. So, yes, this is Chief in the North, but it's going to be the Chief's sidekick tonight. So that's how we're going to treat it. But we do have a ton to go over, and so we are going to cover that. I don't know if Dan's going to make it. I'll keep the headphones on for a while and see if that happens or not. But I want to say thank you to all of you guys, because we're really close now. We are super, super, super close. And that means that there's almost real football right around the corner. When that happens, everything will be right with the world, and I'll have lots and lots to share with you. In the meantime, what I'm getting ready for, and this is to preview here over the weekend, the Sunday night breakdown tonight, or this weekend, is probably not going to be game review. I might put out something quick as a breakdown post-game, but we got to do the roster prediction. So my 53 will come out likely Sunday night, and then we'll have questions on Monday night. Cutdowns are due on Tuesday. So it's going to be kind of a breakneck speed. This whole preseason thing is super weird, and we're going to get through it, but it's definitely going to be a challenge. So if you're new, that's what's coming. Click the like and the sub and the bell notification, because that's how you'll know when everything comes out. A lot of fans and neighbors in here, a lot of members as well. Nice to see all of you guys. I'm going to start with Ben Bradbeck. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate the support. Supporter number one, Ben, also one of our members, also in the Discord, and that is a member perk. We are working our way down the ranks as we get through. Right now, we're at the starter level. If you're a starter and you haven't sent me your email yet and you want in the Discord, please do that. You can do it over here at this particular email address, and that will get me your info so you can get into the chat. If you have interest in fantasy, that kind of stuff, Aaron's going to be doing and talking about some of that. It will be in the Discord, and we'll go from there with maybe a member thing. I'm not sure. But at this point, this channel is going to remain about the team. Fantasy is going to be kind of a separate topic. But Ben, thank you for the support. Super generous review. I can't say thank you enough. And I know you hit two of them on the end of the yesterday's show that I wasn't even on. It was pre-recorded, so it's during my workday, so I don't always get to get on those ones when they first premiere, but thank you for those as well. I'm sure you have a comment or a question. We will get to that, but before we dig into the super chats and all the questions and everything, we'll turn like maybe the second half of this, or maybe even a little bit more, into Q&A like normal Monday night. But I want to go over a couple of concepts, things for you guys to watch this particular week, because the change of the preseason is what makes this game really, really, really unique, because we don't get to see what we usually see in the last preseason game, which is all the backups, everybody fighting for a job, everybody really, really trying to make their way in the league. That can't happen tonight, because you have to have the starters play. And I guess not tonight, I mean Friday night. You have to have that time with the starters. Patrick needs time with his new offensive line. The line needs time with each other. The defense needs to understand their cues and their keys, especially in the blitz game, and a couple of other things that I think you're going to see a little bit of sprinkle in there from Steve. That's all important. So you can't just get away from it. But you can't like forego it as well, because there are guys at the bottom part of the roster that are fighting for their professional lives as well. And so it's going to be an interesting conundrum. Like, how long does Andy let the guys play? He said a half. I don't think Patrick Mahomes plays a half. If he plays a drive in the second quarter, I think that's plenty, and get him out of there. Patrick, throw the ball in the dirt. Do not run. Do not risk getting hit. Just throw it away. It's just preseason, brother. That's all you need. So I'm just going to say that now because I'll probably repeat that 16 times. We'll get into all your questions, and I'm sure you guys will have some thoughts on it as well. I do want to say again, thank you. A lot of folks have been grabbing T-shirts and stuff over at the store. If you'd like to do that as well, I think I have that in here somewhere too. Yep, right here. And it's in the show notes, so you can always grab that at Teespring. Seen a lot of uptick in folks grabbing some of that stuff and supporting us that way, and very much appreciate that. You get the old Rogue Trooper there on the bottom of the screen. You get that on a number of different shirts and a number of different things. I got some cool stuff coming. And I'm hoping that the window between cut downs and week one gives me an opportunity to finish some of those up because it is a lot of graphics working. While I have a graphic designer that I really like, shout out to you, Josh. It's a lot of little projects, not something I've been able to engage him on. So I do most of it myself. That said, there's a lot of competition here, right? There's the wide receiver spot. There's the defensive end spot. There's the safety spot. A lot of competition in there. The real question becomes, how much can you afford to keep because of the offensive line and the defensive line? Because I think you have to keep 10 at each group. You could get away with 9. I'm toying with that on my 53 as I go through this last game. And again, I'll have the 53 roster breakdown preview, my 53, before the rosters come out. That should be Sunday night, so keep an eye out on that. I might get to 9. I don't think so. I think you got to keep 10 because the injuries are going to mount up. And I'm not even going to count Kyle Long because he's not going to be on that group. He's going to end up on the pup. That's probably the only way that they can make it work. The defensive side, there's really only 4 defensive tackles. Counting Chris Jones as an end, there's only 4 defensive tackles that are going to make this team. The others just don't play up to par. And so then it becomes, with the injury to Frank, with knowing that Alex Okafor is not a guy that's going to stay healthy for 17 games, let alone 20, you got to keep more depth there too. So I think they got to go 6 at the end spot. So that's another 10 in the trenches, 10 on each side. And that puts some pressure on the coaching staff to make decisions. So we'll see Jody and Blake, where do they line up? Who looks best? Who makes the most of their snaps? Now, the staff may like Bell, and maybe this is all spitting in the wind, but I think Jody has a chance to make this roster with his play on special teams and in the run game. They've seen him make catches. They know he can. It's the question of can he do the things that they're not counting on him for? And then, obviously, the tail end of the wide receiver group. I don't think it's very muddy myself anymore, but you never know. Somebody can have a big splash. And there is always that competition for who gets on the field when. Who can be the guy who's going to start at the X and get the first chance to be the guy that maybe gets targeted because McCole and Tyreek and Travis are all covered. One of them will always be double covered too. So there's going to be opportunity for that X receiver. Who it becomes is going to be up for grabs in this particular game. It's their last chance to put something on film and really take that role for themselves. Then it comes down to, does Zane Anderson play with the ones and how much? Juan Thornhill should be the starter with the ones again. I think he kind of proved that last week. We'll see if that works out that way. And I think he should play a reduced snap count. Then it comes down to Zane Anderson and Armani Watts back and forth who plays what. I don't think it's a toss-up. It's kind of similar to the defensive front where I think there's 4 good safeties on this roster. I think the 5th gets a little questionable. And is the 6th corner better than the 5th safety? That's where the debate comes in. I am right now leaning towards 4 safeties and 6 corners on my 53 as we get closer to it. Not sure if that's the way it's going to work out, but that's my spiel. I guess we'll start on the questions. I don't have 22 to show you. Hopefully we'll get 22 by week 1. We'll find out. Dan's been able to get a little bit of it, and I think he covered it pretty well. If you missed that, go check out Dan's film room from a couple days ago. Great looks at Wharton and Hughes. I think Hughes it's his spot to lose as a starter, in my opinion. So we'll get into it. Ben, thank you again. I appreciate you very much. And your question was, does Anderson beat out Watts for the 4th spot? And that's the big question. I think if we see him play the first half with the starters, I think that may be your answer. Because if you get that much look on defense, it becomes a question of you can't sacrifice for special teams if you're playing that well on defense. But if they take him out early and they start moving around, it's going to be tough. So That said, I got a couple super chats I got to hit in here. Not sure how many questions are in here so far, but so as of this point, why don't you guys start using the question marks at the beginning of your questions, and we'll get into that. I won't be as breakneck speed like I am on Monday, because quite frankly, I'm more out, but we'll get into it. I think I just saw another question. If I didn't scroll too far, well, but maybe I did. Britton, how are you? If Jody performs, will he be a lock for the roster? Jody won't ever be a lock for the roster this year. If he performs well, I think he makes it, but a lock, no. He would have to outperform everyone on special teams, including Marcus Kemp. And Marcus Kemp's been a guy that's been helping him out a lot. So, and that reminds me, because Kemp's locker is it's a funny place. I didn't really address this, but if you guys missed it, you can get on Chiefs social media. They completely redid the locker room. They have a modern locker room now with actual comfortable seating because the guys spent a lot of time in there. You know what I mean? So you might as well make it more comfortable for them to be in the room. Chiefs unveiled that today, as well as GEH Field at Arrowhead. So tell your friends, nothing to worry about. Arrowhead's not going away. It's just a field at the stadium. Denver did that a couple years ago. People lost their minds, all kinds of stuff. There's nothing to be worried about. The Arrowhead name is never leaving. I guarantee you that. That said, I think it's a good sign that the organization put some money back into the spot that the players spend the most time in. I think that's good. I think it looks nice and it's not overly audacious. It's not like Dallas. It's not like who was the ones who just had like the super crazy one? I think it was Atlanta. Looks like a spaceship in there. I don't know. But they upgraded them. They made it comfortable and it's not over the top. It looks like, and I said it on the podcast today, looks like 65 TPT did the ceiling design. So I think that's cool. But it was nice to see that happen for the players, and I'm sure that they're going to appreciate that. Charlie, you're absolutely right. I am really going rogue. Seth would like to be here, and this is going to happen, with his career. Some trials that just happens. And he's been in a tough spot this week and just couldn't make it happen. So that's all right. You're still going to get me. You'll still get 2 lives a week. If I take myself out of this, I can't really minimize, can I? But we're going to continue this through the regular season, you guys. So Monday and Thursday, we're going to do 6 p.m. Central. Those are going to be, that way we get in a little bit ahead of the Thursday night games and the Monday night games. We had a lot of overlap last year. I started those too late, I thought, but I didn't want to send anybody running for the hills because I changed it mid-season. So we changed it this offseason. I think it's worked out pretty well. Let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with the 6 p.m. start for the live streams on Mondays and Thursday? Leave comments below or in the live chat if you're here now. But that's kind of the way that I'm leaning towards. Stevie says skip because he wore silver and black again. Probably. Maybe he's just a little gun shy now. Maybe he's got something subliminal going on when he chooses his wardrobe on Thursday mornings. Daryl, thank you for that, you guys. There's a lot of channels coming on. I've been on YouTube for a while. You guys have known that. I was ahead of the curve on podcasting too, and now there's a podcast. Every other house in Kansas City has a podcaster living in. The same thing's happening with YouTube. There's more and more channels coming. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. But for us, if you want to support us and you don't have any interest in buying a shirt or anything like that, just hit the thumbs up. You give us a like. It helps more Chiefs fans find us on this platform, which is ever growing as well. And we appreciate that very much. Ryan Stang, thank you for your support as always. First time in a while. So, hey, congrats. I know you've been in the comments a lot, but not live. I moved to a second shift at work. Won't be able to stick around for the whole stream. So have a beer on me. Hey, cheers, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy the shift. It's definitely different. I've worked them all, and overnights are my least favorite, but it is what it is. Like, subscribe, shared is like scattered, smothered, covered, and chunked. Pretty close, Scott. I try to make it roll because I hate pandering to everybody, and there's a lot of channels that spend way too much time on what they'd like you to do for them instead of what we're doing for you. So, Pono, I'm glad you're here. Do you think that Jody beats out Noah? I think that he looks more impressive. I don't think it's a question of beating out Noah. I think if everything goes to plan, they both make the roster. and that they're there as kind of a tight end core, almost like a wide receiver core, right? The investment in Noah Gray and how much that they've put into designing the playbook to have looks specifically for Noah Gray means that he's not getting supplanted. Will he always be the second guy out on the field? Maybe, maybe not. But for Jody, it's about doing enough to stay on the roster. It doesn't necessarily mean beating out Blake Bell either. There's a possibility that they keep 4. I think that's pretty far-fetched, but a lot of people think that that's a possibility. So for Jody, it's about being maximum Jody and making sure that he gives the staff everything that they want. So there's no excuse not to keep him. You make yourself invaluable like that, and that earns you a job. And I think he's put in a lot of hard work, and I'm pulling for him. Aaron is wearing his trooper. I like it, Aaron. You should like send me a quick Twitter picture of that, and I'll work it in here somehow. Mac, thank you for the support. Appreciate it, bud. Biggest encouraging sign this camp preseason and the biggest point of concern this camp preseason. I will say this. My biggest encouraging sign is that all these new guys, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, but a lot on the defensive side as well, we haven't seen them look terrible in any one fashion. Whether that's, the offense looking bad one time. I mean, I know they're not putting up as many points as everybody would like, but they're not fumbling around either. There isn't like a rash of tackling issues. There isn't one thing that stands out. Everybody's got little things to work on. That's what preseason and camp are for. But there isn't like one thing that sucks about this team right now, and that's hard to say about a lot of teams in the league. So I think that's really encouraging. And probably the biggest point of concern for me is how it all comes together when it's another team, when the real shots are being fired. That's the difference, because there's a lot of youth. Obviously, there's youth on the offensive line. You have mostly solid, experienced skill players, right? Even the guys that are stretches to make the roster, like Therese Fountain, like Kemp, they all have experience. They've been in the league a while. No Gray would obviously be the exception to that. Derek Gore. On the defensive side, if there's any injury, Nick Bolton's playing tomorrow. You know what I mean? If there's an injury on Friday night's game to a linebacker, Nick Bolton is a starter week 1, you guys. That's true. Zane Anderson could get, if he becomes the 4th safety with Juan Thornhill, Matthew, and Sorensen, he's a guy that could get on the field if anybody stubs their toe. You know what I mean? So, like, you're a hair's breadth away. There's young guys Baker's got 2 seasons in the league. So I can't call him super young, but like Bo P. Keys, DiCaprio Boodle, those are guys on the outside that could make it or could be pulled up from the practice squad. So, like, that's probably the biggest point of concern is there's a lot of youth that's going to be playing snaps early in the year. Great question, Mac. Thanks, man. Baltimore, is my cable failing me, or does Ryan look pixelated? It's probably my internet, you guys. Again, I am always working to find some company that can actually give me reliable service. And I have not been able to find it out here in the Great Rocky Mountains. So it's worse now because I'm on the whole screen, not on half the screen. Let's see what I'm trying to think if there's something that I could share with you. Put my screen up on something that is of use, but I'm not really coming up with anything right here. So that would take away some of the pixelation. I apologize. Just not much that I can do. I can try and force it and change my resolution, but that might send the whole stream crashing downward. So I tell you what, why don't I do this? And we'll see if it comes back better. You guys let me know if that cleaned it up some. Thanks, Baltimore. Appreciate it. Let's see. Scrolling down to the next question. I know I have a couple super chats to go. Where am I? I got Ryan's. I got Max. Scott. Next question. If you had to go with 6 wide receivers or 3 pass-catching tight ends, but not both, who would make it? Wow. Great question. Because you're talking a total of 9 guys. And the last 4 of them have to play special teams. Kemp's certainly one. But the combination of Fountain, Fortson, Bell, Pringle, Robinson, It's starting to get a little thin because Tyreek shouldn't be doing it. McCole shouldn't be doing it. It gets tough. In this offense, though, I would lean towards the 6 wide receivers and 3 tight ends. That's where I think you would have to go, and it's I think where Andy would want to go as well. Cold Ape. Good point. I'm really surprised people just want to get rid of Blake Bell. And he isn't clearly the second tight end. He's not. That's the thing. He's the best blocker. That doesn't mean he's the second best tight end on the roster. I think that's the difference. I think people are tired of seeing the Demetrius thing. They're tired of seeing, honestly, Blake Bell, because he's had 4 catches over the Chiefs over the last time he was with the club. When you look at what the upside is and what this offense can be, I think everybody's just recognizing an emphasis on the pass catching rather than the blocking is what it is. So, let's see. Will, how are you? From what you've seen, are we worried about Niang enough that we should consider bringing Schwartz back? It's not whether it's a consideration. Mitch Schwartz isn't ready to play. It's not a possibility, Will. Maybe it will be in the future, but right now it's just not. It has nothing to do with the equation. The big thing for me is I feel that Niang has played good enough that you don't give Remmers the job back. I know everybody's tired of hearing about the Super Bowl and Remmers' job in that at left tackle. That's where he's practicing now as the backup left tackle. Mike Remmers as a swing that isn't a starter is a good roster. I would rather see that happen than plug Remmers back in at right just to say that he is. Will it be rough for Lucas a couple of times, especially against the Browns? Myles Garrett's significant pass rusher, right? I don't think he's all world like everybody likes to make him out to be, but he's a significant pass rusher. Is that going to be rough on him? Yeah, I think it is. But he'll grow from it, and I think he'll be better off for it quicker than having somebody with experience like Mike Remmers that just doesn't have the athletic ability to overcome anything. That's kind of the way I see it. Let's see. Cole, do you see any way they keep Josh Kando instead of the oft-injured Alex Okafor, who's only back here on a 1-year deal? No. There's no way that they keep Kando instead of Okafor. Do they keep Kando and Okafor? That's definitely a possibility. But they will not replace a rookie with 0 experience with Alex Okafor, who can do everything in the defense that they ask him. They just don't know how much he can do, right? He's not a 17 or 20 game player, right? But they trust him and they know that he can do what they need him to do enough to get by if someone else is injured. They do not know that about Kando. But I do think it's a significant possibility that it could be both of them. Kyle, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. If it came down to it, Fortson or Fountain, or neither in favor of another player position. That's a tough one. Here's the thing. I think you have to have 6 wide receivers. I think Fountain is one of them because he's earned it. I think it's not about the competition. He's one of the top 6. He's one of the best 6 receivers on this roster. Fortson, I think, has earned a spot, but that's more about the fit in the total roster. Does keeping Fountain mean you can only keep 9 offensive linemen? That's a tough call. If it came down to it, if I had to pick one, man, that's a tough one. I think you can get Fountain to the practice squad most likely. He might get another offer, but I'm not sure you can get Jody Fortson in the practice squad. I think somebody would probably pick him up. Super cheap contract, a lot of upside, and he's been balling out in the preseason. That's my thought. Great question, Kyle. Who's going to be the person who has his mystery injury? That is a very good question. And I had somebody picked out the other day, and I can't remember who it is now off the top of my head. It might be Kando. It could be. Who is the other one? There was somebody else. It might be Boodle. I don't know. I'm really interested to see, to tell you the truth. Roger, is there a chance Fountain beats out D-Rob? No. There just isn't. I'd rather watch Fountain struggle than watch D-Rob carry the ball way out here. Like Dave Tobe said, he drives him nuts. Me too. Absolutely. I know you guys are going to be shocked to hear this, but I might be kind of an old school kind of coach like Dave Tobe. I don't know. I will tell you this, though. as much as I give Demarcus Robinson crap about the things that he does, not getting north and south and carrying the ball in a completely irresponsible way, he does make plays as well. There is an upside and a backside of that coin. Fountain hasn't found an upside with his previous teams, so it's a little bit more of a risk. I think he can do it. I have faith in him that he can do it. But I had the same thing in Chris Conley, and that didn't work out here. So I have to take my own grain of salt with that. And we have to also understand that Patrick Mahomes likes and trusts DeMarcus Robinson. The team likes and trusts him. Andy Reid trusts and likes him and wants him in the locker room. He's not going anywhere. Is there a chance that he gets demoted if Fountain really comes on? I mean, sure. The whole X thing, the two of them are the best body types for it. Pringle can do it, but he's not a prototypical X. But I think the three of them are just kind of rotate through the season about who gets to line up on the line of scrimmage opposite Hill and Hardman. And I think it's going to be about who takes the most advantage of their opportunities, and that's going to be the guy. So, hey, great question, Roger. Gary, are you worried about the safety position, or do you think that people, they will be okay with the ones that they have? I think they're going to be fine. I think Juan is still recovering a little bit. He says he's back. He actually played like it the other day. I don't know what they've been trying to get out of him, if it's just motivation, if there was something specific. I still feel like Juan Thornhill can be a Pro Bowl level player. Can he be all pro? He still has that in him. I haven't seen that yet, but I think he can be a Pro Bowler. It's just the next one's down. We've seen Armani Watts. He has a tendency to make plays in the preseason, come up a little short in the regular season when he's not hurt. He can play special teams like it's going out of style, though, and that's definitely a value for this team. So there's no way around it. It's going to be a competition, and that's good for the roster. Judge, thank you very much for the support. Appreciate it. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC? Whew, that's a good one. Wow. I think a couple of things. And I said this, if you guys haven't caught us on the Locked On NFL show, I'm doing the national show on Thursdays. You can always watch that here on YouTube or on iTunes or all that stuff. Spotify, I mean, not Apple. They're having all kinds of trouble serving up shows. And I said it this way there because I think the Buffalo Bills are in position to take a step forward. I think that the Tennessee Titans are being way underrated. I think the addition of Julio, if he proves to be healthy again, and he did play 15 games last season, I think he changes that offense quite dramatically, to tell you the truth. And then it comes down to, can the Colts hold it together? Can Wentz get back to what he was with Frank Reich? I think there's some really interesting options. Are the Patriots going to come rebounding back? They're going to be better than you want them to be, I'll tell you that. They have to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. But they're going to be an opposition as well. And could the Miami Dolphins surge? They certainly could. I think Tua is getting kind of a bad rap so far, but we'll see what happens. I think there are a lot of contenders, but I tell you, the one that is probably the scariest is a healthy Chargers roster. We'll see if they can keep it together. That's going to be head to head, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun, to tell you the truth. Thanks, Judge. Red Hood. Who's been the juiciest player in the preseason, in your opinion? The juiciest player. I mean, you could go with Jody, but he's pretty familiar. And yes, he's gotten a lot better this offseason, but we've seen him increase a little bit. I think the guy that's probably had the most juice, as my alarm goes off, the most juice, period, is Chris Jones. Because he was elite before. He might be, I don't want to say that and jinx it. Screw it. I think he might outpace production with Aaron Donald this year. I think Chris out on the edge could be everything that we ever dreamed that it was. Is he a super bendy around the edge kind of guy? No. Is he an overhyped, overpowerful quicker, faster, and stronger Neil Smith? Maybe. So there's a lot of options there. But for my money, for a guy who was already super, super good to come back and have that much more oomph, Chris Jones is the juiciest guy at camp. And I love the way that you phrased the question, my friend. Thank you. Ben, your timing is fine. I appreciate it, Ben. Thank you. Gary, thank you. Another member question. I appreciate that. How many linebackers do you think they will keep and who? I think it's only 5. I really do. I mean, caveat, something could change tomorrow night. Let me see what's on there. But right now, I have to think that it's the main 4. Hitch, Willie, Neiman, Nick, Bolton. And then the question to me is, what does Darius Harris do tomorrow night in special teams? Because you can already see that they prefer him as the backup Mike to Dorian O'Daniel. But Dorian plays all the special teams and contributes there consistently. So Harris has to do that tomorrow night in order to compete with that. Otherwise, it's DOD. I think whoever it isn't goes to the practice squad, though. And I will tell you this, as a dark horse, I like Cobb. When you think about it, you have Hitch, Neiman, and Bolton are all middle backers. Willie's the only Will in that group. And so keeping Harris on top of it or DOD on top of it, neither of them are Wills. Cobb is. So maybe it comes down to that. But again, I think those guys who don't make it will end up on the practice squad because they need depth there, and they're going to do their best to sign better depth. Sean, is it a bad sign if a player doesn't get much time on the field tomorrow night? Not necessarily, especially if they're a starter or like the first rotational player in. That means that they've secured their job and they don't have to evaluate them anymore, and they just want to get their timing and get them out. So I wouldn't be too concerned with that. Pono, live streaming between members during games coming soon. Possibly, I'm not sure what the capabilities are of Discord. That will be a Discord starter member only kind of thing. It's not part of the channel. That's YouTube doesn't let you do that. So we'll explore that, Pono. And for those of you, if you would like to become a member, it is super easy. All you got to do is click the join button. I guess it's down there. Should be bluish outline. And then if you do, and you go to starter level, email me at this address, and I'll get you a link to join the Discord. And eventually, once we get all the starters that want in, then we're going to move on down to the rookies, and we're going to eventually get to everyone. Don't you guys worry. I just want to give preference to those that support us the most and kind of move that way through it. I guess I could have taken that off. Sorry, I probably should have. Ben, yes. I mean, I think that's exactly what Jody's role will be. Like the possession tight end, basically. I think Kelsey's going to exploit the defense. You know that he goes intermediate to long. I think Noah Gray's going to have a shell off of that's going to be, I think, a lot down the middle between the hashes. And so when you're talking about just power linebacker draped on top of you, I think that's what they'll look for Fortson if he makes the roster. Because I think they'll try that with Bell, but I don't think Bell will come up with it. I just don't. He's not a pass catching threat to me in any way. Lance, obviously, opponents will be studying the Super Bowl tape and licking their chops. What is the number one thing that Andy will do to counteract what opponents do defensively? And it's not just Andy, but it's 2 things. He will call more runs, and he will throw the ball and develop more underneath routes, like 12 yards and in, where a lot of the Chiefs' current routes in the past 2 years have been 12 yards and out. And that comes down to the Grays, the Fortsons, the Hardmans, the Pringles underneath, because Pringle can run out of the slot as well. And a lot of Clyde in the pass game. That's what it comes down to. But I think the big thing Andy will call more runs. It protects Patrick. It grinds out the yards. And if teams are going to play light boxes, that's the best thing to do. Take advantage of them being scared over the top and keeping their personnel back off the line of scrimmage. Take the 5 yards that they're giving you free and just come back with another play. It'll be up tempo, but not any worse than Andy Reid's practices, I don't think. So I'm fine with it. I think the team will be too. Dr. Who, there seems to be more talk about Honey Badger's contract talks going badly or growing animosity. Do you think that there's any truth to that? I have not heard any truth for that from anyone that I trust that has connections in the building. I do think that there's a gap on the time, not necessarily the money. I don't think it's the salary per year that is the hang up. I think it's the number of years myself. I've heard bits and pieces from some sources, but nothing concrete. And I think this is normal negotiations. I think you would see something from Tyron a lot more aggressive that would then be deleted, of course, if he was really, truly unhappy or there was animosity. So I'm not concerned about it at this point. I don't think any of us need to be. So, JC, share the comment section. The comment section goes live after we finish. The regular down below comments of a normal video will come up once it's available for replay about 30 seconds after I click end. So it'll get there. In there for the time being, it'll just be the live stream, bud. Let's see. Tyler, would you like to see Veach target Darius Slay in the quarterback room if it doesn't pan out, thinking of vet players and rebuilding situations? I mean, Slay's all right. Is he versatile enough for what Spags wants to do? I'm not so sure. And I think they really like the guys that they have, but you never know. Will Slay actually be loose? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. My gut says no, but I can't tell you for certain there, Tyler. Good question. Longmorn, thank you for your support as always. Is Boodle ahead of Bo Pete because he can play safety? I don't think so. Like, I love that they gave him some safety snaps. And for those of you that are Husker fans, Night Hunter, you're in here, right? I think Todd's a Husker fan too. My wife is too. So I see Nebraska live a lot. I really feel like he's got something. Maybe it's not honed enough at a position yet, but he's got that versatility thing. I just don't think that he's ahead of Bo Pete as a corner. And he's buried behind some other safeties that they seem to really like. So I would say no. I would say he's still behind Bo Pete in general. That's my thought. Thanks, Longmorn. Appreciate it. Charlie, any news on the practice squad 12 to 16? No, we don't have confirmation yet. The NFL starting to roll some things out, though. So we're hoping to hear it here obviously by cut downs. So hopefully in the next day or two is my hope. Hey, Todd, is that a black shirt logo on your YouTube avatar? I can never tell, but I thought it was. Stevie said it was okay. Okay, I like it that as long as I agree with Stevie, then I think I'm pretty good. Ryan saying, thank you very much for your super chat. What team do you think could have a surprising win against the Chiefs this season? I think Washington has some juice and could sneak a win out from us. I don't necessarily agree with that one. I think the Titans certainly can. Man, let me pull up the schedule real quick because it's escaping me right off the bat. I mean, Washington's got some players that could give them problems. Is it enough to win a ball game? I'm not sure of that. That would leave me questioning a little bit. Let's see. I mean, certainly the Bills, Titans, they're playoff caliber teams. Packers, we know. I mean, could the Eagles put something together? It doesn't look like it, but maybe. But Washington, I think maybe the Cowboys could. If they get rolling and they have Zeke and they have Dak back at full speed by the time they get there, I mean, that's it's a Thanksgiving area game. That could happen. I don't think the Steelers are going to survive long enough to what they're the game the day after Christmas. I don't think they're going to be in shape to really contend. So maybe you're right. Maybe Washington's like a couple of players give them some trouble, and that's enough. Fair point. Thank you for the support too, Ryan. Gary, will Mahomes be able to set up in the pocket this year with a new O-line? Yes, he will. It's going to be breaking a habit for him, though. So it's going to take some time, I think, to work into, but he will get there. Don't give that away, Stevie. That's kind of a low down secret. Pono, does Gore beat out McKinnon as the number 3? No, not in a million years. Not even close. But I do think he beats out Darwin. I don't think they keep 4, though. So I think it's Gore to the practice squad and Darwin will be released, is my thought. I think you're going to see a heavy load of both of them tomorrow night, though. So keep that in mind. And if somebody changes their fortunes tomorrow, that can certainly happen. Okay. Looks like Aaron may have sent me. Did Aaron send me something or is he just messaging me? Well, you sent it to my phone. Well, I guess I could share that. So Aaron's got his shirt on. Oh, let me put that in front of the camera. That always helps. What an idea. If I can get it to focus, there we go. There's Aaron in his trooper shirt. It's a good looking one. I like it. So yeah, that's what you guys can get over in the store. Go check that out. Pono, got that one. Okay. Assuming the starting O-line is Brown, Tooney, Humphrey, Smith, and Yang, project the backups on the O-line. Okay, so Wiley, LDT, Blythe, Allegretti, Remmers. The question becomes, Blythe just had surgery, so I don't know that he's healthy. They could trade him. They could release him. I don't think they trade Wiley now. I think he's quality backup. So maybe they just go 9 because Blythe isn't really viable. Maybe Pritz Tegodago makes it for some reason. I think he ends up on the practice squad, and in that case, they go to 9. That's my thought. Ben, Hill, Hardman, Pringle, Kemp, Fountain, D-Rob. Yeah, those are the guys that I have making it. At least right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Something could change. But right now, those are the guys that I have as the top 6. That's not the order that I have them in, nor is it the order the Chiefs have them in. But you got the right names, man. Scott, could we have Seth do a project charting D-Rob's relevant plays versus team first place for the other team? No, Seth's never going to do that because it's not an efficient use of his time. You're not going to be happy with the outcome of that either. I will tell you guys that. Mark Murray, I'm hearing that we might only keep 2 QBs. Yeah, there's no way they keep 3 on the roster, Mark. They don't have the room. Bouchel will go to the practice squad. Hopefully no one will pilfer him and sign him to theirs. But the sole backup will be Henny on the 53. Let's see. That's what they did last year, and it's the only thing that makes sense with how many other roster spots you need. Let's see here. Bam. Roger, thanks for the insight. Been watching for a while. First live. Oh, well, glad you made it, Roger. I know it's kind of a different beast, but I'm glad you're here. Is there any chance that Clark could be traded next season? I don't think so. I mean, if he had a 15 sack season, maybe. But his contract is so high, I don't think anybody's going to pay for it. They'll cross their fingers that the Chiefs release him and then try to sign him at a much lower rate is my thought. So, but if he did have a super breakout year, maybe all the attention goes to Chris after a couple of games and he's got single one-on-ones that he can take advantage of. Maybe he could put together a double digit. I think 12 isn't enough. I think he'd have to get over that in order to really make an impact and have value. Ben, the first 5-0 line is outstanding. Then it gets thin. Wiley, Allegretti, Prince, Blythe, Durant. I don't think Durant makes it, you guys. Mike Remmers will be on this roster unless he's injured. And you got to remember, at week 6 or 8, you're going to get Kyle Long back. So that's something to consider as well. Kyle, thank you, sir. Your comparison for the 2nd to 4th tight ends, how do you rank them in terms of pass catching, blocking, special teams, fit with the 53? Okay. Catching is very clear. It is Gray, Fortson, Bell. Blocking is very clear. It is Bell, Fortson, Gray. Special teams, little bit muddier. I believe special teams, it's Fortson, Bell, Gray. And fit overall is Gray, Fortson, Bell. Bell gives them experience and he gives them blocking. It's not a weapon in the pass game. They do that so that they have the ability to go to that when they need it. I think Fortson's learned to block well enough that he negates that lead and his pass catching is night and day better. So that's where I see it, Kyle. Great question, bud. I know there's more out here, so let me get to that. Oh, FLDB, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Payday. I understand. They make me wait till Fridays, but I get it. Thanks, buddy. 900, there you are. I think you're a Nebraska fan, if I remember right. Of the whole new starting of O-line, who has quietly shown you solidity at their position? I think Creed Humphrey's done an outstanding job. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you haven't heard about Creed Humphrey means that he's doing his work, and he's doing it well. I think, honestly, if it wasn't for our outside conjecture about Trey Smith and being surprised that he was, fell that low in the draft and then took over the starting job when Long went out, if it wasn't for that from those of us outside of the organization has plugged him in and gone on, been done with it. So I think that's definitely it. And it's not solidity because he had to take the job away. when Remmers got hurt, but Lucas Niang has gone and claimed that job, in my opinion. So I think we need to give him kudos for that as well. Will, any cuts you've seen across the league that could really help this roster? I haven't seen anyone out there that wasn't available before that I would be like, hey, they should go bring him in. I still think, especially if there's an injury at the linebacker level, KJ Wright is an option. I don't think he's going back to Seattle. Everything I hear out of there is that they've moved on. We'll see what happens. Does Darwin Thompson make the 53 depending on how he plays tomorrow, or is he pretty much just getting film for other teams? In my opinion, he's just putting film out for other teams. He has not shown enough to make this roster. Could they put him on the practice squad again? Yes. Could they release him and see if anybody picks him up? And if not, put him on the practice squad? Yes. But I think Gore has shown more upside. I like the way that he runs. He's younger. I think that's the way that you go as your practice squad running back. Benjamin, will the new O-line be somewhat gelled by week 1? Probably not. And most especially not over with Niang and Smith. You're going to see, and you guys know, if you don't know, if you haven't been here at RGR for the last couple of years, the game plan video will come out on Fridays, where I will break down what needs to be done and what probably will be done by the other team. Dan's going to help me with them this year, so I don't know if we'll do it back and forth or we'll do segments. I don't know what we're going to do. Depends on my internet, but everything else does as well. So look for that. And I do believe that the Cleveland Browns will be one that will attack the right-hand side of the Chiefs offensive line all day, every snap in week 1. So I believe that, they play week 1, right? It is the Browns week 1. Yes. Thought I lost my mind there for a minute, you guys. K-Stater, it's Gore for me. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs will agree with me, but it's definitely Gore for me. Kang. Sorry, I just wanted to say that once. When's the 53 prediction coming? It should be Sunday night. The deadline is Tuesday. The Chiefs generally release a couple of guys early, and so they start the day before. So I'm going to get it out there. I'm going to record it. I have my one super dynasty draft on Sunday, so I'm going to try to get it done before that. Otherwise, we just might have to do it live. I don't know, but should be Sunday night, bud. Cole, I'm going to be super bold with a Jody Fortson prediction. Not only that he makes the roster, but at season ends, he scores a touchdown. What do you think? I think you're absolutely right. If Jody makes the roster, Blake Bell scored a touchdown in his last season. It was like one of 4 catches or whatever it was. I think Jody will absolutely do that. Carl Leonard, how are you? Andy said that EB called about half of the plays last week. Do you think he'll call more during the regular season? I do. I definitely do. I think Andy will have a tendency to let him do that. I think Andy feels that he's been left over for jobs, and that will certainly help. I will say this, though, like in critical situations, Andy will still take that back over. But, yeah, I do think EB will call more plays overall. Todd, breaking news, they're building a Chick-fil-A a mile from my house. Ruh-roh. Careful now. Go easy on the spicy chicken, dude. Just saying. Cassie, if Powell ends up on the practice squad, can we protect him? Yes. I don't think anyone's calling for Corno Powell. I know Dan loves him, and I like his game too, but he's not there. The leap from Clemson to here was not clean for him. He's not ready. He hasn't put anything on film to make anybody come get him. If they had a high grade on him in the draft process, maybe they'd get some interest, but I'm pretty sure Corno Powell appreciates being drafted. And I'm pretty sure he appreciates playing for somebody who's got Super Bowl aspirations. I don't think he's going to go elsewhere if he has a choice. Let's see. Miss Holly, glad you're here. I see that you're keeping up with that avatar. I hope you saw the franchise last night from the guys over at 65 Toss Power Trap. A lot of Tommy in that one, so I'm guessing you were pretty happy. Questions. Does Devin Key make the practice squads? Starting strong, then rolled downhill. Yes, I do think he makes the practice squad. I don't think he's on the 53 any longer. But I think he showed enough that he can be coached up to be a productive player in years to come and fill that Armani Watts role and maybe a little bit deeper down. So, yeah, I do think he makes the practice squad. Bridgewater taking over a Locke's number 1 spot. Thoughts? That's exactly what I predicted a few weeks ago. If you guys missed that, I think this is what a coach like Fangio has to do. Fangio, great defensive coach, cannot develop quarterbacks. Not his thing. Pat Shurmur can run a good offense. I would not call Pat Shurmur a quarterback developer, in my opinion. Some people would disagree, but that's my opinion. So you don't have anyone in a position of power in the Broncos that can take a young quarterback and make him great, or make him better, develop him. So if you're a head coach that knows the defense and has built a very good defense, they're going to be very stout, the Broncos defense. The two things that you have to do to win then is to let that defense be what it is, run the ball and protect the quarterback, keep him from making mistakes and giving the ball away. Teddy Bridgewater is night and day the better guy in not giving the ball away to the other team. Very, very straightforward. The Chiefs will have to earn turnovers against the Broncos if he is still the player then. Problem is, for the Broncos, Teddy doesn't have a great history of staying healthy. So who knows? They might see Drew Lock by the time the Chiefs roll around to it anyway, because I think they don't play till like week, 13? Something like that, post-bye. So there's a lot of room for change there, bud. Miss Holly, thank you very much. Thinking of getting a custom jersey that says Roget. I like that one. But you need to pick a number. Suggestions. Chat, please. Weigh in as well. Yeah, you guys, give her a number. What would you like to see Holly in? I personally, my favorite number of all time is 9. Any variation of it. So I might be tempted, if I were you, to go with a Colin Saunders route and do double 9s. But I think a nice clean 9 is a good one as well. I'm also a fan of prime numbers. So if that tells you anything. Herbie and the guys that play poker will tell you that I'm a big fan of prime numbers. Longest expected return week 6 to 8. Did something change for him? No, he had the tibial surgery. And I've heard a rumor of what it is, but I don't have it confirmed. So I'm not going to put that out as a diagnosis because it has not been confirmed to me. But it was a surgical repair. I believe he starts on the PUP. That is a minimum of 6 weeks. And then you have a 3-week window. So I do believe it's in the back there, Jack. 6 to 8 is about the right timing. Aaron, do you think of the, I think Powell. Powell's the one I was trying to remember earlier and I couldn't. I think Powell is the surprise injury that gets him to either IR or the practice squad. The problem is he cannot play at all if he goes to IR before. So they would have to do a release and a re-sign, I think, is the way it would have to work. I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, I do think that's what's going to happen. I'd rather just see them put him on IR and say he's out for the year. He's going to practice with us. Let's see. Pono. Mahalo for all this tonight. I appreciate it. Who claims the number 1 returner? Ooh, that's a good one. I don't think the Chiefs want it to be McCole. I don't want it to be McCole. I think it ends up being Pringle. Maybe Hughes. And maybe they split. Maybe that's the answer. Because I think Hughes is crafty. Dave Tobe said good things about him the other day, and every beat reporter I've talked to said good things about Mike Hughes as a returner. So I think that's an ace up his sleeve. I think that we will see that. Okay, I see people saying it's less juicy without Seth. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't wear ties, so I can't really change that. I hope that Seth will be back because he's unique and he's funny, but you're just going to have to put up with me tonight. Sorry. I know you guys get plenty of me on the live streams, but hey. Abby, thank you. Do you have any predictions for who will be on the practice squad? That's one of the things that I'm working through. Certainly a number of guys. I'll probably put Powell on there and not play with the IR, does it happen thing and all that. What did I have? I had Prince. I had Darrell Williams. I had Gore, Cornell Powell. If Jody doesn't make the 53, he will be on the practice squad. Although I think someone will come try to sign him. I think the Chiefs might be able to keep him. I don't know. And then on the backside, Devin Key, Bopi Keys, if he doesn't make it, Boodle, if he doesn't make it, I think Lamons, if he doesn't make it, might get to the practice squad. And then Cobb and Harris and DOD, whoever doesn't make it, I think gets to the practice squad. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Kano, Ward, Damone Harris. one of the three will not make the roster. Possibly two of the three might not make the roster. And I think they would get a chance to the practice squad, although I think they might get some interest. Ben, if the Browns attack the right side of our line, will they be prepared for it? No, sure. I mean, it's Andy. They'll be prepared. You're going to see Patrick roll. You're going to see them run the ball to the opposite side a lot. And you're going to see some slants and screens come in right behind that blitz off of Garrett, who will be lined up on Niang. I guarantee you that. Doug, I'm agreeing with you on Burton can block and catch being special teams and making him a valuable player. Well, I appreciate that, Doug. And you're absolutely right. You are a wise and learned man. Mike Burton's going to be different, you guys. I think Mike Burton might double or triple Sherm's touches this year. He is a legitimate weapon out of the backfield, especially in the pass game. I don't know if they're going to run any eye back, straight pounding the rock kind of stuff. I just tend to doubt that. But he can go to the H, and he can definitely catch as a fullback. We've seen him use the eye a little bit. I just don't think in the regular season they're going to much. Score prediction against the Browns. Dang, you're jumping it, Zach. I appreciate that. Put me on the spot. I mean, OBJ's back. Nick Chubb is a beast. And I'll say this too. Don't get too concerned if the Chiefs get run all over in week 1. That might be the best rushing attack in the league. So take that with a grain of salt. But I'm going to say that the Chiefs pull it out. And it's a little bit not as high scoring as we expect, because I think they're going to have some hiccups. I think they win probably 27-21 is the way that I'm leaning. Ask me again. I'll give it to you on the game plan video Friday before that game. And hopefully it'll be similar and I won't change my mind completely. Roger, I'm a huge fan of Pringle and a Fortune supporter. Is it possible that Fortune makes the 53? Are they the second best wide receiver and second best tight end? No and no. They will not be. The second best wide receiver is Nicole Hardman, despite everybody's complaints about him. He still is a game breaker when it's in his hands. Pringle's pretty close, but I can't say that he's better. And Fortune, my guess is, would still be 3 if he's on the roster. I don't know. They might trust him a little bit early because they know he can block and Noah can't. And that's been pretty readily available to me. I'm taking these off now because I don't think Dan's going to make it. So yeah, I mean, is there a chance he could get to 2? Possibly, but I doubt it. Kyle, are we finally going to get some more of those Andy 3 tight end sets? I hope so. I really enjoyed those as well. And there's somebody, it's a formation or a personnel package most teams can't match up with at all, especially when one of them is Travis Kelce. So I definitely think I would like to see it, and I think they might get back to it. Hopefully they will. I think they're going to do a lot of experimentation as well. Cole, I was actually going to suggest that you do a Locked On Chiefs live for your 53. Is that what you were thinking? No, it'll be on here. Locked On Chiefs, we record. We don't do live. We're not to that point. It's a much different format. Here I can just roll and do whatever I want or whatever I feel like, and I can roll with the punches like that. Chris is new to video, and certainly we have a very structured show on Locked On because we're part of the Locked On network. And so all the shows are built to be similar. And we have specific things that we try to accomplish. Whereas here I can just roll with what you guys want and give you opinion and kind of be a lot more adaptable. Gary, do you think the Chiefs will do more 2-point conversions with Butker's struggles? I think they will, but not because of Butker's struggles. I think a lot of other teams are going to be trying to do 2-point conversions to try to keep up. And so it's going to force the Chiefs to do it a little bit too. And one more thing, Cole, we'll do the 53 us together with Chris as well. Mine's just going to be more visual here, of course. Tech 9 in the house? I must have missed that. Okay, rock on. What else am I doing? I just scrolled too far. Okay, there was that question. I would like a Mod Father shirt. Yes, I can do that, my friend. I will definitely do that. Thanks, Night Honor. I think so too. Do you think Nick Bolton has looked in the preseason so far? I've liked what I've seen. I think he's in the right spot. I think he's competing with Neiman. I don't think he's overtaken Hitch. I don't think that's even close. But I think he's right there neck and neck with Neiman, who's been in the defense for quite a while, and that's a significant thing. I got to see it against ones, though. I think the teams that they played in the preseason have taken it kind of light on them. So let me see when we get to the regular season. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a force in year 2, though. Info. Am I the only one who thinks Gore clearly looks better than Darwin Thompson? Nope. It might be just you and me, but you're not alone, my friend. You are not alone. Hey, that's the juicy quote of the day. I'll just name that right now. Steven, out of last year's draft picks, who do you think is the breakout year or bust? Last year's draft picks? Ooh, that's a good one. Wow. I think Snead is going to have a breakout year. I think Snead's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I mean, if he comes up with as many turnovers as I think he'll have a chance for, he might be an all-pro with Tyron. That's just my thought. Napoleon, I know he's done it in the past. I don't think they're looking for him to do that there. Again, unnecessary hits on him when he would have to be in the backfield, in case of emergency. Daryl's still in the concussion protocol. Daryl will be the number 2, but this is how it goes. Your top 2 backs right now are hurt. McKinnon would be the 3rd, so I don't think they're going to put him in a position, a guy with a long injury history himself, of getting more dinged up. So I don't think so. But you never know. If everybody's unsatisfactory to begin the season, maybe they shake it up with him. I would doubt it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Ben, how many O-linemen do they keep on 53? Minimum 9. I'm leaning towards 10 right now. I'll have a better idea after the game tomorrow night. KSU, will our tight end 2 production surpass the production of Demetrius Harrison his last season? Yes. And I think that's probably going to be Noah Gray. I think they really like what they have for him, and I think they're coming up with more stuff for him. I think he's going to be the big relief valve when they try to double Tyreek and Kelsey, and I think some teams are going to try to double both of them because they're not scared of the X right now, and I think it's Gray that's going to take advantage of it. Adam, do you believe that Gray is the replacement for Kelsey in a few years? No. I cannot say that. I got to see him play a season or 2 to know whether he's capable of ascending that far. He's not the athlete Travis Kelsey is. He is not the scary weapon that teams feel they have to double. Can he grow into something like that? He can grow into being scary. He's not going to become a better athlete than Kelsey or even close to Kelsey. But he has the chance to grow into something. And if he does that, then maybe he can be in a few years. But right now, I would say no. Any progress on getting press credentials from the Chiefs? No, I will not have press credentials this year. In fact, there's less and less likely a chance here as we get closer to the season because they have limited the number of people that can be in any of the press-related events. And there's more national media that want in, and they get general preference. So, no, I will not have it in 2021. There's always 2022, but right now, no. Okay, we're just about out. And oh, good, we're over time, so that's great. Jonah, thank you for your support. I appreciate that. If I missed any questions or super chats, hit Aaron right now or hit me right now, and I will try to get them this minute. Seth George, is my guy Dorian Daniel going to make the roster? He's right on the bubble. You need to see something out of him tomorrow night. Him, Harris, Cobb, watch those 3. They're fighting for a spot. And I do think one of them has to make it, but they are fighting for a spot. Holly, I will sign it myself if you do. It won't mean anything, but there's so much press interest for the Chiefs, possibly going to a 3rd Super Bowl. I mean, they're coming out of the woodwork. But hey, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll have a partnership soon between Locked On and 610 in Kansas City if you guys are local. I was on with Carrington during camp, so we'll try to make that into a bigger thing, and maybe that'll help something. Let's see. Anthony thinks that Fortson's better than Gray. That's fine. Fortson's also been a pro 3 years. I think Gray has some growing to do, but I think he'll get there. Let's see. Jonah, does a UDFA make the roster over Watts? Right now, I think it's 60-40, no, but that could change tonight or tomorrow night. I think it's tight. I don't think they keep 5. Right now I'm leaning towards 4, and I think Armani and Zane Anderson are in a battle. Recruiter for them, huh? Okay. I'll get right on it, bro. Gary, could Trey Smith be a Pro Bowler this year? Yeah. I mean, sure. Can I predict that he will be? No. But, I mean, he's handled everything they've thrown at him so far. He's become more athletic by dropping weight and working on his feet than I thought he could be as a rookie. Right now, in terms of being able to deliver power and move in the offense, in terms of not the most athletic guy by testing, but what he's done to increase his athleticism by dropping weight and working on it, he's at the level I'd hoped for him to be in his second year already. So if he continues that through the season, and he's a super smart and nasty playing guy, there's always a possibility. I will not say no, it can't happen. Appreciate you, Zachary, very much. Thanks for being here. FLDB, you too, bud. Last couple questions, and we'll be on our way, you guys. Is it true that PFF had O'Daniel as the number 1 special teamer last year? I don't know because I don't look up special teams. I might be able to check on that for you. I don't know. There's game tomorrow night. I don't know if I'll get to that before there's rosters, but I honestly don't know. Okay. And that is the last of the questions. All right. So thank you for all you super chatters. Thank you for everyone who answered a question. I think that I got everyone tonight, so I'm glad to hear that. We will have more for you. I'll do a quick post game tomorrow night. I said quick, but I'll try to make it quick anyway. Not as long as the last one. And then I got to get to work on the roster. That will be Sunday night, and then Monday night the normal Q&A like we always will. We will have probably some cuts by then, is my guess, if the Chiefs do what they normally do. And then we'll be ready to move on with what the Chiefs are going to be in 2021. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the game. Make sure you keep an eye on those guys that we talked about. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you post game. Have a good one.